So, welcome back to Sound Bites, a show about good people doing good things in the local food and drink business. And one of those good people is Jeff Green. Jeff has been a fixture of the local craft beer scene for quite a while now and is currently the general manager of Burnside Brewing Company. You can be forgiven for not knowing the name Burnside Brewing, as until recently it was known as Spindrift. So, welcome, Jeff.
Thank you. Great to. That's a pretty lengthy introduction there. I appreciate the props. It's funny sometimes when you look back and think, did he call me a fixture? Like, yeah, I'm bordering on 20
Jeff,
years.
you're not as young as you used to be. That's my nice way of saying you're getting old like me.
Yeah, look no further than the wrinkles and gray hairs.
So let's talk a little bit just about the brewery. How long it's been in existence? Because just in case people have been, under a rock for a while, when did the brewery originally open?
Yeah, so the brewery would have opened in 2015 as Spindrift Brewing Company, obviously over here on 21 Frazee Avenue in Burnside Industrial Park. Been around since then. Came out of the gates pretty strong. Couple of solid brands. Added the biggest brand on that side has been Killick Session Lager, which was launched a couple of years ago. Actually, but five or 6 years ago now, in conjunction with the Devour Food Festival. And so that was the first time that, the brewer at the time, Kelly Robertson, now of Good Robot fame, she got that beer on the go for that festival. And so that kind of kicked off, some pretty steady growth for Spindrift through the kind of late 2010s. And I came on board just about 5, maybe 10 minutes before the pandemic shut everything down in 2020. And I've been here for the last 3 years. And behind the strength of the Toller brand, which you see here over my left shoulder, the last couple of years, so we launched Toller in 2019 and 2018 actually. And, that brand really has taken us to some new heights here over the last couple of years.
Yeah, so amazing. And so I think, Toller probably is, I'm going to assume, your core brand now, or certainly does a lot of volume.
It is our largest brand by a long shot.
So people are probably read in the news recently that you've had a name change. So what was Spindrift is now Burnside Brewing Company. Can you tell me a little bit about how that came to be that after, however, what you said, we've been around since 2015. So we're closing in on a decade now.
Yeah.
We're changing names.
So, the long story short there, and I know this is a long form interview, but at the end of the day, long story short there is there's a fairly sizable company in the US called Spindrift Beverage Company. They make predominantly a soda water, so sparkling water flavored, big outfit. They approached us. We'll go back a couple of years now. Owner to owner, and kind of said, look, see, you have a trademark here in Canada. What's going on with that? Would you ever discuss maybe moving away from that and kind of letting us in? So a couple of discussions back and forth. I mean, obviously, without giving too much detail, there's some legal proceedings that have to take part as part of that discussion. And, at the end of the day, we just kind of agreed. We that forced us to kind of look internally and say, we've got this great Toller brand, we've got Killick, we've got a few other Spindrift brands that kind of, are they popular because of the name Spindrift, or are they popular because they're great liquid and we've got some great brands, individual brands behind them? And we kind of just made the decision, look, like, is this worth, getting in a fight over, or is it just time to maybe take a look and say, is Spindrift the right brand for us? And so we started working with a local branding company called Trampoline. They were wonderful. From the get-go, it was a lot of, almost everybody in the building over here, ownership right down through to, packaging and operations, sales, marketing, all that stuff, and kind of went, who are we? What do we do? And at the end of the day, and you and I have known each other for a long time. I've always been someone who believes, like, we're selling beer, we're not saving lives.
Yep.
It's, I think one of the things, in my opinion, in craft beer that alienates us a bit from the majority of beer drinkers is a little bit of pretense, a little bit of feeling a little more important than we are. Like at the end of the day, it's beer and it's fun. And
so does that spill into the new name? Because the new name is like it for me, Burnside, which I think of, work people that work, like it's a place you go to work and spend your 9 to 5 at. And so his part of the appeal of Burn, and I've always kind of thought of Spindrift or the previous name that you made kind of crisp, easy, refreshing styles of beer that are approachable. Like there's not a lot of like this craft eccentricity. It's about good solid beer. So is that part of the thinking behind Burnside Brewing, that is like an everyday beer?
That's essentially what it boils down to. So we're going to, I mean, look over I guess I'm pointing the wrong way, over my shoulder there. Like we've got a nice IPA line. We've got some hazy IPAs, hemp IPA, we've got some sours and things, but at the end of the day, what drives this bus is easy drinking, approachable beers. It's kind of like, it's no nonsense is the ethos. We've kind of adopted through the process, the adage of just kind of, work hard, have fun, and make great beer. It doesn't mean we're not going to have some fun on labels, right? Like we can be ridiculous. We got a product in the works, where we're just being completely zany about names and labels and things. And, we've got the toller that kind of, works hard for us. And at the end of the day, we're going to focus on making good product. And that's part of, to go back to 2015 when, there was a number of places that the brewery could have been positioned. We could have found a really hip place in the North End. There were some places downtown Dartmouth that were looked at. End of the day, plunk it down in Burnside. Why? Well, it's relatively inexpensive. And that affords us the ability to go and put some more money into equipment and, making sure. So, we're a lager heavy brewery, which is something that really sets us apart from the vast majority of folks in the province. And that means we need more space. It means, we need more tankage, and it means, at the end of the day, Burnside felt right. And when we started thinking like, who are we and what do we want to be when we grew up? It was like, well, we're in Burnside. Is everybody cool with that? Like that was just, that's as easy as it.
Well, that sounds like easy branding. Are you guys cool
right?
with that?
And it's one of those things where there's a lot of really complex questions you can ask when you're branding a company, especially in beer. Marketing and brand positioning plays such a large role in what we do. We just kind of thought, we could make something up. I've got a whiteboard over here that's got names like, High Tide and Bad Words and Purple Monkey Dishwasher, right? Like we could have came up with a bunch of different things. And then it's like, okay, what is our ethos? How do we live that every day? And, I hope it doesn't make us sound lazy. It's actually quite the opposite. We're just going to work hard at doing what it is we do from the place that we call home and focus on making good product. And I still firmly, I don't make the stuff. I'm a general manager that came this way came to this position by way of the sales and marketing side. So I don't mind saying we've got incredibly drinkable liquid, and we have for a long time. And I think Burnside just feels more appropriate for us in terms of just, it's where we're at, and it's easy and it's approachable, and it's just not overly complex. We're just, again, we're selling beer. We're not saving lives, right?
Yeah. And I would just say that, to the hardworking, people too, like that, making lager isn't easy. As much as, there's no forgiveness. You have, and it takes a little extra time, and it takes some snazzy equipment, which you guys have. Anyway, so I think congratulations on that was probably a hard thought process to go through, to the idea of changing a company name like that, but I'd say good on you, well done. And
so I don't know the exact number, but just to put it in perspective, in our 7 years in the business, we had a work back plan for this rebrand, that included And this was just simply, okay, where do we have our logo and or our trademark and or our brewery name that we have to change? And the list was over 100 places, right? And that might be a tap handle, and it might be a registration, it might be a lease, it might be, coaster, the stuff that you think of when you think, oh, they got to go, there's signage and there's glassware and there's these things, but then it's behind the scenes. It's like, we're registered in the Burnside Chamber of Commerce, so, or the Burnside Business Bureau, or whatever it's called. So, we got to touch base with every single one of those folks and change things, change leases. We signed an agreement. It's coming up on a year ago that said, they gave us, essentially a year to continue using the trademark before we kind of pull the final pin out of it. And so that date's coming up here at the end of this month. So we're almost there. But
I guess you got some last few tap handles to switch, and anyway, and where is the shop open at the brewery? Can you buy?
Shop's open at the brewery. It's funny, we took the sign, the Spindrift sign, off the building about a month ago, and the first couple of days we did, people would pull in, and there's no sign, and they'd kind of sit in the parking lot, and then walk in 5 minutes later, going like, "Are you guys are still here?" Like, yeah, we're still here. So we're still here at 21 Frazee Avenue in Burnside. We've got a wonderful satellite location in Antigonish. So we opened up in 2021 in August. We opened up in Antigonish in an old menswear store that was called Oak Manor. So through this process, that was one of the things we had to kind of consider too, is what do we call the remote locations, because Burnside Brewing in Antigonish, Burnside isn't in Antigonish, so we've just redubbed our spot in Antigonish Oak Manor by Burnside Brewing, and so the sign's up on the wall there, and I can break some news for you today, and there will be some some follow up on that in the next little bit, but we are going to be opening a third tap room in another smaller center in the province here, and there's some info coming on that next week. So that's pretty exciting. We're working behind the scenes on that one too.
Awesome. So thanks for being on the show. Great to support local. Great that you're expanding to other parts of smaller communities in Nova Scotia. And for those watching, remember, support local breweries. If it's at the NSLC, that's great, but even better if you can go direct to the brewery where they can get their full margin. That always helps a brewery, and we all can help local. So thanks, Jeff, for being on the show.
Thanks, Mark, and appreciate all you do for the local food and beverage scene. You and the team. It's always appreciated and always great to catch up.
Thank you.